Immediately, Jesus made the disciples get into the boat and go ahead of him to the other side while he dismissed the crowds. And after he had dismissed the crowds, he himself went up the mountain to pray. In the evening, he was alone. But by this time, the boat that was battered by waves was afar off the land, for the wind was contrary and against them. By the fourth watch of the night, Jesus came walking toward the boat on the sea. And when they saw him walking on the sea, they were terrified, saying, "Oh, it's a ghost." And they cried out with fear. Immediately, Jesus said, "Take heart. It's I. Do not be afraid." Peter said, "Lord, if it really is you, command me to come out to you on the water." Jesus said, "Come." So Peter stepped out of the boat and started walking on the water. But then a strong wind, when he noticed it, he grew in fear and he started to sink and said, "Lord, save me." And immediately, Jesus reached out his hand and he caught him. Oh, you of little faith. Why? Why did you doubt? When they got into the boat, the wind ceased. And everyone in the boat began to worship him, saying, "Oh, truly, truly, you are the Son of God."
Wow. Very good. One more time.
One take, no.
Well, how was this for you? How was doing this?
It was good. The memories came back of the word. I had some anxiety because I'm like, can we?
Real mastery of the word. I mean, 98% verbal accuracy. Really. So is that, I mean, you were confident of your memory in relation to this. What helped in relation to, making the connections with?
For me, it was the scenes. A lot of it was some of the background work prior to doing some of that context and understanding that the reason why they were in the desert. So it wasn't just a loose story. It was Jesus was really trying to retreat because he heard that John the Baptist was beheaded and was just trying to get away and had compassion on the people. Disciples wanted to send them away. He said, "You go ahead, I will dismiss the crowds." And so really he was just trying to get here. So it was just the scenes, like tracing where he would have been.
Right.
Trying to get away and then getting back to them. And then the confrontation with Peter. Maybe that, just the imagery of that and understanding what Jesus felt and where he was.
Well, my perception is that it was both, that you had envisioned those scenes. So I could see you thinking those scenes and describing them at the beginning of each of the major episodes of the story. But also that the moves that you had done, that helped you
To walk into it.
to get into it. Yeah, that's big. What was it like in relation to this esteemed audience that you are, colleagues that you're telling the story?
I was disappointed that everybody would be in here, but after a while, I would pick out a few faces and just try to stay focused on
Well, perception was that you were relating directly to us, and that you were including in the story, you know, everybody in the room. So that really worked. Yeah. Well, things that, you know, that I noticed that were really good about this was, first of all, your energy. That there was just a lot of energy and delight. So the delight that you had in the story really came through in your smiles and the gestures and just the energy of your telling the story and the directness of that too. But it's also that you enabled us to see the, you know, the various dimensions of that story, which is, you know, it's easy to identify, but you really made that possible. You know, where they were on the land, coming to Jesus walking on the water, Peter coming to him, they're getting back in the boat, and that, you know, each of those was, I could visualize it, you know, with the way that, you know, that you were telling it. Another one of the things that happened was that you distinguished characters. So Peter was clearly different than Jesus, and Jesus was clearly different than you in describing being a storyteller. So the characters came through, but as is the case, always the most important character was you, and so you were very present. You were free, and you gave us the freedom to relate to you, and so, you know, that your presence was both inviting and energizing. So that was great.
Feedback?
Would you like
Sure.
feedback about how you might grow it more?
Sure.
Well, there are some details. So the introduction to, first of the disciples on the sea and their panic, the wind against them, they couldn't get in. You could make more of that. You know, the wind was against them, and that gesture. You know, I don't know if you've ever been in a sailboat where the wind's against you. You know, just to feel that, give us that sense of what that's like. Another detail is the thing of at the fourth watch of the night. That is deep darkness. It's like 4 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, and it's the time of terror. And you could convey that in the way that you name that time, so that then gets us into the existential moment for the disciples in the boat. Now another thing that you could develop is Jesus standing on the water. The translation, "it is I," is misleading because the Greek words are ego eimi, I am. It's the divine name. So when Jesus is standing there and saying, "Take heart, I am," the implication of that is he's God standing there on the water. And that also connects with, and you could develop that on the water. the Psalms is one of God's face moving over the face of the waters, standing on, in control of the powers of chaos. So you might even think about, how can you make and present Jesus as the one standing on the waters, as the one who is in control of the powers of chaos, who literally can stand on them.
Let me ask you a question about that. In the translation, it is I.
Yeah.
But what I wrote in the performance preparation was that whole piece about I am and what that meant.
Right.
That application.
Right.
Is it okay? Because I guess I've kind of gotten some mixture this week about shifting that wording. Is it okay to shift it to I am?
Yes.
Okay.
He says,
And that's based on an exegetical conclusion of what the character of the words was. It's a translation issue.
Okay.
You can take a position on the translation based on your perception of the original meanings of the words. But it's also because it is the same words as were present in the Septuagint translation of the burning bush, and of God speaking to Moses and asking, what is your name? Ego eimi. So your conclusion is also based on that's something that would have been recognized and known by those who heard the story, and that would have been the connection. And that's why it's important to translate it as I am, because it makes the connection explicit to that story of the burning bush and of the epiphany of God, Yahweh revealing God's name.
Okay.
Yep. So that would be in the way that you did the stepping out of the boat and onto that was great. And I just thought that I just saw this vision of you, kind of like somebody on walking across the wire between the two towers, or something. Okay, he came to Jesus walking on the water, and so there's more fun and in that.
Yeah.
And then when he saw the wind. So I think again that you could convey a little more of his experience of that, and so that's from his point of view. So in terms of performance criticism, that's an inside view of Peter. We literally see the wind through his eyes, and so you can convey that. And then the way you did Jesus, man of little faith, you made that so cheerful and present. It was exactly right in relation to, in my opinion, the spirit of that, which it's an ongoing thing, but usually that's read as, oh, man of little faith, why did you doubt? So it becomes a big put down. So
I listened to your commentary on that, so you helped me.
yeah, okay, well, there's some congruence again. Yeah, well, that really came through. So those are just things that you could grow.
Okay.
And in terms of your development of this story, and that my honest would be to have confidence in your gift as a storyteller, and really let it go.
Awesome.
Sexual check.